The storm god who tore heaven apart has just sent his sister a gift. High above the earth, in the high plane of heaven, a messenger comes before Amaterasu, sent up from the world below. And in the messenger's hands, a sword. Not just any sword, the blade her brother pulled from the tail of a monster, the finest ever found in this world. He has sent it up to her, the exile, to the very goddess who banished him. Remember how they parted, his rampage through her halls, the terror that drove her behind the cave door and left the whole world in darkness. For that, the gods drove him from heaven, and she let him go. And now, that same brother sends her this, not a weapon turned against her, an offering. The one who brought her nothing but ruin, sending up the greatest treasure his hands have ever held. She takes it. She says nothing. But the gulf she set between them, the day she turned her back, at last, quietly, closes. The one she sent away has reached back, and the goddess accepts it. The sword rose to heaven. The god who sent it did not. Down on the earth, Susanoo and Kushinada, the girl he saved, now his wife, set out across Izumo to find a place to settle, somewhere to stop and stay. For a god who has never belonged anywhere, expelled from heaven, a wanderer with nowhere to put down roots, this is something new. He is not hunting a throne or a battlefield. He is looking for a place to live. And he finds it. He comes to a stretch of land and stops and looks around him. And he says, "Coming here to this place, my heart is sugasugashi." Clear, calm, clean. It may be the first peace this god has ever felt. And so he names the place for that feeling, Suga, which is more or less a pun. One reading has it that the place was already called Suga, and the storyteller simply invented a reason for the name. Why Suga? Because the god said Sugasugashi. A dad joke, really, and Japan's oldest book is full of them. But there is a quiet charm in it, and the storm god of all gods, having finally found a little peace, names his new home after a good mood. And it's stuck. 13 centuries on, that corner of Izumo is still called Suga to this day. And here, the storm god will build his home. The walls of the new palace rise at Suga. And as they do, clouds rise up from the very ground. And the god who tore 8 heads from a monster sits down and does something no one in all of these stories has done before. He gives no command. He calls down no curse. He speaks a poem. The first poem in all of Japan.
役も立つ、出雲八重垣、妻込みに、八重垣作る。その八重垣を。
And look at its shape. You almost certainly know its most famous descendant, the haiku, 5-7-5. This is the older, fuller form the haiku grew out of, 5-7-5, and then 7 and 7 again. 31 beats, locked in place. The form has a name of its own, tanka, a shape so exact it is almost a kind of code, the first fixed format this world ever wrote down. The eightfold clouds rise. In Izumo, eightfold fences. To keep my wife within, I raise eightfold fences. Oh, those eightfold fences. And the poem's very first words, "The eightfold clouds rise," would cling to this land for good. For centuries after, in Japanese verse, those words became a name for Izumo itself. And here is the strange thing. That shape never died. Every haiku you have ever seen is its grandchild. And the full form itself is still written today, 1,300 years on, beat for beat, unbroken. And of everything he might have said with the first poem ever made, what did the most destructive god in all these tales choose? Not war, not vengeance, not the storm. He sang of a wall, built up layer upon layer, to keep one person safe inside. The god who began as nothing but wreckage ended his story building a home. And in time, Susanoo and Kushinada have a child. The bargain he once struck, a wife in exchange for a monster's head, becomes something neither of them could have planned. A bloodline. It runs on, quietly, generation after generation. The names in between don't matter here, only where the line leads. 6 generations down, 6 versions on, it arrives at the god at the center of everything that comes next. Ōkuninushi, the great land master. And with him, the ground itself shifts. The age of the gods of heaven is giving way to the gods of the earth. And the next story does not begin with thunder, or a sword, or a god of any great name. It begins on a quiet shore. There, at the edge of the sea, a small white rabbit is weeping, its fur stripped away, alone. This is where the age of Ōkuninushi begins, the great landmaster, and the whole story of the earthly gods opens here, with one small, crying creature. Season 1, The Age of the Gods, is complete. Season 2, The Age of the Earthly Gods, is now in production. The protocol still runs.